Welcome to Beyond the Box. Inside, outside, upside, downside, beyond the box.
Break it down.
Our guests are insiders, now on the outside and the right side, dropping truth and nuclear intel bombs and breaking it down just for you. And now it's time to meet your hosts and co-hosts. Your hosts of Beyond the Box are Brenda Lankarge and Suzanne Hott. Brenda Lankarge is host of Beyond the Box and retired law enforcement. Joined by Suzanne Hott, host of Beyond the Box, Joel's Indoor Arena and Event Center, and White Horse Productions. They are joined by Tom Althouse, Brian Sang, and Penny L.A. Shepard. Brian Sang, co-host Beyond the Box, is Full Disclosure Now Movement, fulldisclosuremovement.org. Tom Althouse, co-host Beyond the Box, is the real author of The Matrix, The Immortals, and The Matrix Redeemed. And Penny L.A. Shepard, executive producer and co-host of David Zublick's Awake Nation, The Dark Outpost, Patriot's Perspective, and Beyond the Box. This show is for entertainment purposes only.
Break it down.
Inside, outside, upside, downside, beyond the box. Beyond the Box begins now.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Beyond the Box. Today is March 30th, 2024. I guess that big hoppity Easter bunny is supposed to be entering people's homes, huh? Hi, Susie.
Hey.
Don't know what
Sorry
that
about
was.
That was my phone interrupting me. Sorry.
That always happens. So
Right.
tonight we have Elizabeth with us, and Brian is with us tonight again also. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and bring everybody out, and we are going to get started on what's what and who's where at in Hollywood. There's Penny L.A. Shepard. Hi, Penny.
Good evening. I was going to say good day, but it's not daytime anymore, so.
It's good. Yeah, good evening. And there's Brian. Hey, Brian.
Hello, ladies. Glad to be here. Happy
Hi,
Saturday.
Yes. Is it, though? Is it?
It is.
I
It
was
is.
Yes.
up at 4:30 in the morning, and again at 7:30 in the morning, and I'm still trying to catch up on sleep. So you hear me snoring, just somebody throw something at me. And there's Andy. And what was that, and what happened?
That was me.
We
Oh.
shrunk the bigger.
I'm trying to get back to my main screen. Here,
I'm
go
like,
ahead.
get
and
off me. What are we doing?
I'm trying to get back to my main screen.
Musical
I went
chairs.
to settings
Yeah.
to help
Here's-
her.
here,
I
here,
got
here's-
lost.
And see, here's Elizabeth.
there you-
We're going to put her in here
Hello.
too. So.
It's very bright and sunny here. The weather's gorgeous. And the dolphins are out in the seaplane.
Yeah,
No.
It's really pretty out there.
I see your palm tree in the back.
I'm about to climb it in a minute. You want to watch
Yeah.
Okay.
Just kidding.
So I guess we're going to do a kind of like, I guess, a round table discussions of, people that Elizabeth knows and some of the things she's done. And then Brian, well, to the point that you can, I
I
understand.
got to change the names to protect the guilty.
Yes.
Isn't that horrible? We have to
Well,
protect the
Elizabeth-
guilty.
Let's tell people her full name, Elizabeth Beam, so people know. Beam me up, Scotty, and tell us a little bit about yourself, growing up?
Oh, it's too. I'll tell you my current situation is I'm currently in Chicago, and I live in an. This is interesting because it's the only kind of type of building in the country. It's intergenerational, low income facility, and what it is we each have our own apartments, and we have a community kitchen where we share meals together. So basically, it's a 5-story building, so it's pretty much like everybody's like one big family, give or take, and it's an interesting setup, and I couldn't have wished for anything better.
How did you end up in Chicago? Because I want to get like a little foundation so that our guests
Oh,
understand
okay.
who you are. So when you where did you grow up? First of all, where were you born and where did you grow up?
I grew up across the river from New York City in New Jersey in I call it Factoryville, and did a lot of and Little Italy was my stomping grounds in Manhattan, so I got to know all the goombots.
Right. So I lived in Jersey for a couple of months when I was studying at NYU. So I lived in Long Branch.
Wow, I know where that is.
Well,
Yeah.
it wasn't, Newark, which is like a war zone. Is it a war zone? Do you know?
I don't know. I haven't been there in a while, so I wouldn't know.
So is your family Italian?
Huh?
Is your family
No,
Italian?
I'm Irish and English and Native American. No.
Okay.
No, but I was raised around a lot of Italians. Yeah.
So did you move from New Jersey to Manhattan, or you just commuted?
Well, what they say in the East Coast, you swim across the river.
Right. Through the bodies and the sludge. Now, are you a performer? Were you a performer?
Was.
Yeah.
I was involved in the entertainment industry, strictly music. I did recording. Oh my God. And I did a lot of stage work in the different clubs in Manhattan, like Max's Kansas City. We're going back a ways. Oh my God. Irving Plaza, Hammerstein Ballroom, all those clubs. Just I knew a guy that owned the systems in the clubs, and so I had steady work.
What did you play? Did you play an instrument?
I was a singer.
Okay.
I had a band that toured the tourist traps in Times Square. Yeah.
Really?
Interesting. Yeah.
Interesting. But you didn't play an instrument?
I played guitar at one time earlier in my career. Well, I wouldn't call it a career, but earlier on, I did play guitar. Then I dropped that, went strictly into recording, mixing and mastering. Yeah. You want to see pics? I got them on my phone.
Yeah, the New York scene is different somewhat from LA.
Yeah, it's tighter, and wow, I went to LA too. That was crazy over there.
So let's tell us first about New York, and then let's go to LA. So what was the scene like in New York, and did you room with any people of notoriety?
Yes, but like I said, I have to change their names to protect the guilty.
Okay.
Yeah, it did.
Madam X, perhaps?
Actually, okay, the story with her was she was living, I had a studio on 30th Street between 7th and 8th Avenue, and it was beautiful. It overlooked Madison Square Garden. And then she was down the street. She was living in a hotel at the time on 30th Street and 8th Avenue. It was a dumpy hotel. But she was living there. She was working out of, I was in the 30th Street Music Building. She was in the 38th Street Music Building.
Okay, not very far.
Over to there was a rehearsal studio a couple flights up from me. It was a big one. It was the whole floor. And the guys used to play chess. And she would come up with her black bands on her arm and stuff and try to, like, always try to get attention. And she would annoy them.
Yeah, she basically, in the industry, I'll just say it, blew her way to the top.
Yeah. I mean, And then I went over. I used to hang out at the 38th Street Music Building downstairs, and the only phone that was allowed in the building was a payphone. And she would come down and get her calls on the payphone that was in the lobby. And so one day we were like, "What is she doing?" You know, she was whispering in the phone and writing things down and running upstairs and then running out the door. And we were like, "What's going on here?" So we pretended to be her on the phone. When they called, they were like, "Hello, is Madonna there?" We say, "Hold on." And then we get on the phone and pretend we were Madonna and say, "Oh, yeah, you have to go see this guy at this address." And they say, who is this again? "Well, don't you know it's Sammy? It's Sammy." "Oh, wait, Sammy?" And he goes, "Yeah, from the escort service." And it was what do you say? Adam and Eve escort service.
Oh, nice.
Her escort calls
Right.
off the phone.
She develop
From the phone in the lobby of 30th Street Music Building, 38th Street Music Building. Sorry.
that was a different scene back in the day.
Yeah.
In the music industry, because at the time she wasn't really known for her singing as much as her dancing.
Mhm.
She was a good, she was a dancer, and I think she made a commodity out of herself to put her in the music genre. And she did she was very prolific. How should I say? Well, you already said she was an escort, but she was very prolifically known with the gay community as well at that time.
Well, I know she didn't like the company of other women. She liked to be the only girl in the studios where she was working at. I mean, her studio was. I had a studio at 38th Street Music Building, a rehearsal studio, and her studio was right around the corner from me. But it was kind of very nefarious. It was nefarious. So,
did you ever meet her brother Christopher?
I'm sure I have, but I mean, I've done live shows with her where she opened up for the band The System. Do you remember The System?
No, I don't.
You're in my system.
Oh, right. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. And she opened up for them, and she put. I'll never forget this. She put the mic down, and it was like a mostly black audience. She put the mic down, and the track was still going, and the people they didn't do anything. They didn't even clap. They were just stunned. And she was like, "Wow, I think we blew it with this crowd," and she stormed off. And but she had this thing when we were doing sound check. We had a German Shepherd, and his name was Tahoe. We call him Taco. And we're playing with Taco, running around. It was in the Ritz. It was in the Ritz. So we're playing with Taco, throwing his ball. He's getting all rowdy and stuff. And she comes out and she screams at the top of her lung, "Get that fucking dog out of here!" And there was bikers in the back, so they're like, "Okay,"
Right? Bikers like dogs.
Yeah, she does not like dogs. I mean, I don't know. But
yeah, I personally don't trust anybody that doesn't like dogs.
Yeah,
Susie.
I didn't want to work with her after that. I was done. I couldn't stand her personally.
Right.
I couldn't stand her.
Right.
Susie can actually talk right now because she has her headset in and she's not buzzing. I just want to hear you say something.
Who, me?
Who, me?
Yes.
Oh.
Oh, I wanted to ask Elizabeth a couple questions. Elizabeth, do you know who Brian is, or one of our guests?
No.
Yeah,
Brian,
Brian's
would
actually a
you
co-host.
explain to Elizabeth, like, who you are and what you
hi,
have
Brian.
coming up.
Hi, Elizabeth. Yeah, I mean, right now my big project is I'm the lead organizer and producer for the Full Disclosure Now conference in July in Florida at St. Pete Beach at the Serrata Resort. And we've got everyone from Miles Johnston of the Basis Project and Carrie Cassidy to Penny Bradley, Tony Rodriguez, Drago Reed.
I like Tony.
Yeah. Laura Eisenhower. It's a great lineup. And I wanted to make a comment because my one business partner and housemate, he used to do high-end renovations and contracting work on like people's mansions, and so he worked on her mansion on a Star Island, which apparently P Diddy, the mansion that just got raided, is also on Star Island. Okay, so just a little tie in there. And I'd like to hear commentary from you in terms of, it sounds like you knew her and they're young, vibrant, like
Well, this
the
is
whole
what I
world.
was up to. This is, I don't, you can't see it from this. But
You can send me the picture.
Yeah, and then Penny will stick it on the screen. But about 10 years ago, when he was doing work, he got to work on her mansion, on her property. This was when apparently
got a lot of skeletons in that closet. Woo!
well, I'm gonna bust them out right here. Apparently, this is when Florida was mandating like they upgrade their windows for like hurricane protection. So that's why he and his boss or partner were working on her mansion. And she was walking around naked, not.
What else is
This is old, flabby, and like, oh my, put something on, God, please. Or I don't know, we can. So, and apparently she was basically walking around naked to solicit whoever to do whatever.
getting attention?
Yeah,
She was
and
an junkie, I'm telling you. She used to stomp her foot when she didn't get away. She was like stomping her foot. Yeah,
right. Well, my guy was just like not interested, like, please no, like, but apparently some of the landscapers were more interested, and I'll leave it at that.
Anything to get attention.
I think when she was younger, she was just young and, like Brian said, real vibrant, cute, so she could get away with that stuff.
Yeah, she basically said she would do anything for fame. She's 6 days. I'm 6 days older than her, and I have this feeling that actually she was in one of my projects, and that it's very possible that we might have been twinned. I asked about Christopher because Christopher wrote a book about her, and in the book he had said that they were always fighting. She would never help him. But he had mentioned that the father was in top secret military projects. And at one point that he came home and showed him a picture of a tank and I think a laser and said, the old, I'm showing this to you, but you can't tell anybody or I'll have to kill you. That kind of thing. So the family was in top secret military. The father wasn't home that much. The mother ended up dying of cancer. The mother's name was Madonna Louise Fortin, and one of my middle initials is L, which is for Lou, which could be short for Louise, and my name in Greek means Madonna, and my last maiden name was Fortner, as in Fortner, and she looks a lot like me. So I wondered if perhaps because the X-Files alludes to there's one child that is sacrificed, but I wonder if in fact she was implanted. She does also have a trait which I don't have, but it's a Mengele, Joseph Mengele trait, a space between her teeth. That's a genetic trait, which I don't know if anyone else in the family has that trait as well. She wasn't a very, you'd say, like good and bad, right? A very different person than myself, although I, went through my own, beta sex slave thing, but I was not like her in the aspect. I was not one of those people that would ever do anything for money or anything for fame. Unfortunately, I did what I did for free, So I didn't get, any financial remuneration from it because my heart was generally, led to doing whatever I did. I thought as a free spirit. But Madonna at one point said that she would do anything for fame. Do you believe that?
Well, I another memory came back. You know, you're I'm going back a really long. I'm going back to like the early '80s, and
Yes.
there was a. She was on the top floor. I was in 1201. She was in 1206, but there was a. I think 1204 was on the corner of the building. It's 38th Street Music Building, and one time I was by there, and I heard this weird, like it was the death metal dudes back in the day, and they were into doing rituals and stuff. And the I don't want to get religious, but it's the guy who owned the building was a hardcore J. You know what I mean? Hardcore, and he was in there. And he used to hang around with the younger boys. He was kind of creepy. He was also my landlord, unfortunately. But they were doing a ritual in there, and I saw him. He saw me looking in, and he saw me through the crack of the door, and he sent somebody out after me. But I tore down those stairs so fast. Oh man, it was crazy.
So you now let's fast forward to her music today. What are your feelings about? Did you ever watch any of her Eurovision things?
I think she's soulless. Really, she's done. She's done. And you know, they're all going to have to pay the piper soon. And look at Brenda nodding your head. You know what I'm talking about. It's all.
I was going to say, in your time in the industry, in the music industry, would you describe? Because and I'd like to address a little bit later, P. Diddy, the situation with that. But would you describe? Do you believe that they actually sign a contract, which that contract is binding with malevolent entities or demonic entities?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I know the CEO of Rock Nation, Desiree. What's her last name? I forget. Well, back in the day, she became the CEO, but she has ties with the FBI because she got busted. Let me remember this. She got busted with 35 kilos coming into Miami in the 90s.
Wow.
And then she cooperated. This is the CEO of Rock Nation. She cooperated
Rock Nation?
And she brought down 2 cartels with her information. She was wired. And I don't think she was, I'm sure they tried to put a hit out on her, but all of them wound up going to jail. So, and then she got a pardon from Trump. And
okay, are you saying Desiree Perez?
She's a Santeria. She's from the Bronx, and she was raised by Cuban parents. She's Santeria though.
Are you talking about Desiree Perez?
That one is yup, that's her. Yeah, that's her. Yeah. Yeah.
So she also has ties.
She has ties with the feds. Yep, she was a snitch.
Well, do you know who she brought down? Because was it Escobar?
But there's this lady I know. I don't know. But that's why I know the history about her. The biggest snitch in hip hop.
Okay, so it says, does Perez pardon? Who is Desiree Perez, and why was she pardoned by Donald Trump, the CEO of Rock Nation 48?
Because she brought down 2 cartels.
And this is of 2021. Had turned her life around after falling the fell.
Busted way back in the day.
Yes, of the law for more than 2 decades. She was Bronx born. That's interesting. And home to some of the world's biggest biggest music stars. The daughter of Cuban immigrants, has risen from a part-time nightclub manager. Did you know her?
No, and thank you God that I didn't.
Right.
But you know, New York ran on cocaine back in the day. I mean, in the 80s, it was just like, forget about it.
Because it was coming in, the influx was coming in through the Cocaine Cowboys were situated in Miami.
Hmm?
So the Cocaine Cowboys, it was coming through into Miami and then going into different drug trafficking organizations utilize different drug trafficking routes. But that peninsula, Florida, that whole peninsula there gave way to interstate international criminals. So she
Wow.
first booked Jay-Z and
Yeah, I
his
was gonna
DJ
say, look
Clark
at him.
Kent to perform at one of her venues in 1996 before helping launch the inaugural 4040 Club in Manhattan. Do you know what that club is?
I've been there. I went there for Beyonce's birthday. Yeah.
You went there for Beyonce's birthday?
Yeah, I was invited by the actors from The Sopranos took me.
Why don't you tell us about that?
I rolled with the Italians.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
What, The Sopranos or the 4040 Club?
Both.
Oh, well, it was a club. They had a main floor downstairs, and it was her birthday, so she was upstairs in the billiards room.
How did you know
And
Beyonce?
her bodyguard was huge. Well, I walked her dogs, too. I didn't tell you that one.
No.
Yeah, I walked her dogs for about, 3 or 4 times. No, it's like more like 3 times. She was staying at Angie's house, her cousin, while she was getting her place renovated. And she had a place on 58th or 59th Street, something like that, by the bridge. And she had like these 8 little black Pomeranians. And they look like dusters, like, just, you couldn't see her. They were just so bushy, these little dogs. So her dog walker was out for a few days. I was walking dogs there as well on her floor, on Angie's floor where Beyonce was staying. So when I met her, she had like football. She looked like a football player. Like her shoulders are very wide, and she talked like this. She
Beyonce?
so I thought she was a tranny. So I had, Maya. Remember Maya from Israel? I told Maya, look at Brenda's dying over here. I'll pay in cash when you come back. She talked like a guy.
I can say, do you know what I know?
I call up Maya and I'm like, Maya, I really think I'm walking Beyonce's dogs. And she's just, what's she like? I said, she sounds like a man. She goes, oh, no. That's a singer's trick.
Yes. Yes, it is.
When you talk to the low register.
Well,
But
it's not only that, but
for
when you're
training.
gigging, as you well know, when you gig a large amount of time, you get hoarse. I remember talking to one girl on my circuit, and I said to her, "Are you from France?" And she's like, "No, I'm from North Carolina." And I was like, "North Carolina," because her voice was so hoarse that she lost any kind of an accent, and so she was trying really hard to speak the words. So your register gets a little bit lower. But so go on. I'm sorry.
But Maya said that was a singer's trick.
So are you talking about the Maya?
Yeah, Maya Samatov, the singer from Israel.
Oh,
Maya, remember Maya?
Yes, I've had her on the show. I'm like, which Maya are you talking about? Yes.
Yeah, that was about 2001 when I did that. I only worked there 3 times. But she paid in cash, and she had a big role and a big bodyguard. Let me tell you. But yeah, she had a big role, and she paid me, and it was all good. She didn't speak much. I didn't speak much to her. That was it. But oh my God, I thought she was a freaking tranny. Okay, hello. Not that I have anything against trannies. I'm just saying.
How did you end up getting invited to her party at the 4040?
I went with the guys from The Sopranos.
Okay, tell us about The Sopranos.
Oh my! I wished I did my notes before I came on because that was so long ago.
Well, you'll be on again.
I'm in Easter mode right now. I'm trying to figure out how to cook a turkey tonight. I got to pre-prepare for tomorrow. But anyway,
Stuff it, throw it in the oven, put some butter on it, you'll be all right.
Is that what I got to do?
Yeah, butter the outside of it, you'll be good.
Well, I used to hang out with Vinny Pastore and Vinny Vella, all the Vinnies. Hey, Vinny. Vinny Pastore, Vinny Vella, Steve Sharippa, of course, James Gandolfini, and all those guys. And
was he a nice guy? He's no longer with us, is he?
So Vinny Vella's son came up and he's like, Beyonce's having her birthday party at 4040. Let's all go, So we did. We went over there and, went home, threw our good duds on and met over there and got in. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'd love to,
Oh, I love
wondering.
Drea. Drea's cool. Michael and Drea, yeah.
So
He had
of
to
these
live on 30th Street. What?
of these people who had, would you say, the occult connections? They're doing the rituals. They're signing the contracts. They're
None of them that I know of. If they did, I didn't know about it. They were
okay.
full-blown Italianos, you know.
Wasn't Tony an actual mobster at one point?
Oh, I heard. No, he spent time in prison. He was in prison. Yeah, there's Steve.
Yeah, that guy. Wasn't Tony
Yeah, he was in
an actual
prison at
mobster?
one time, but I don't know for what. I wouldn't know, but I know he spent time in prison. That's actually a public fact.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's an actual mobster.
I'm
And Stephen
sure of
Van
it.
Zandt was in there too. Did you know him?
Yes, I did. As a matter of fact, I don't like him. He's nasty. He's nasty. He's been in my the music building too. But he bought a church on the corner of Washington Square Park.
He bought a church.
He bought a church. He lives in a
Stephen
church.
Van Zandt bought a church.
And I was sitting on his steps taking a break, and he had his person come and kick me off the steps. So I'm like,
Really?
for you, Steve.
Wow.
Your band sucks. So there.
Was Stephen Van Zandt also from
Why?
Brooklyn?
I don't know. I never really hung with him. I didn't like him.
How
I don't
was
like him.
how I heard that James Gandolfini was a very nice man.
He was mad cool. We used to walk our dogs together. I had a dog that lived on Duane off of, what is it, Duane and Reed? No, it was Reed and Broadway. And then he lived on Duane Street. And he had a dog named, what was his, Duke. He had a dog named Duke. And Duke was in love with the dog that I was walking. So
No,
he'd be
where
hanging out,
was
smoking a
the
cigar.
Sopranos filmed, Elizabeth?
Huh?
Where was the Sopranos filmed?
Oh, I don't know.
How did you meet the cast?
I was never on the set. I was down in Little Italy on Elizabeth Street.
Okay.
That was my hang. So I got to know all of them. Yeah,
Okay.
not all of them. But some.
No, I have to ask. He died at 51.
Martin Scorsese lived on Elizabeth Street.
Really? Yeah, I
Yeah.
heard Marty's not the best of people.
Elizabeth, Brian's trying to ask you a question, Elizabeth.
Yeah, in regards to James Gandolfini dying from a heart attack at 51, and in the conspiracy circles, if you will, there's speculation he might have been sacrificed, or he said no.
Well, I'll tell you something I know, because when I met up with him downtown when he was walking his dog, like same time every day, like clockwork, we'd always meet up. And then he was out there smoking a cigar, and he's like, hey, So I was looking at him. I was like, ooh, he don't look too good, He was looking a little too swollen, and he was grunting a lot. So he wasn't in that great a shape to begin with. So I wouldn't doubt if they did a ritual and tried to steal his essence or something. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. But that's a confirmation. His physical health was
Physical health, no, really, he did not look good. He did
Okay.
not look good. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
much
I will go back to this, but did you have any experiences? Really?
Hmm?
I'm sorry, it's Lily. Did you have any experiences with Montauk?
You know what they do is like, and to keep you from talking, they put like a gag order, the gag order program in your head. But yeah, I mean, I knew Al. I called Al Uncle Al, and there was Al Bielik. He's a really great guy, actually.
Did you know him?
Yeah.
How did you meet him?
Preston Nichols, he's been over my house, or my studio in Manhattan. I met him, well, there's a very long time lapse, but him, Nichols, God, Stuart Swerdlow.
How
Yeah.
about Duncan Cameron?
I've met Duncan too. Yeah.
So, may I ask, what were your impressions of them? And I'm going to kind of preface this by saying that I know Peter Moon, when he wrote his Montauk Chronicles series, it seems like he kind of did a lot of whitewashing, in particular around the abuse that Preston, the levels of abuse that he did on those kids. But in terms of Duncan Cameron, yeah,
Jesus.
right. In terms of Duncan Cameron, there doesn't seem to be as much information. Can you tell us a bit about him?
He was nice to me. We went out to dinner and we got a big table and about 20 people were sitting there. But after Al passed away, I saw him again. We were in the New Yorker hotel at that time. We were up. Was it the New Yorker? Yeah, it was the New Yorker. We were upstairs at the time in a large room. He came in. There was a smaller room to the side, so I scooted in there because I didn't want to see him. But he came in after me, and he had me up against the wall. Not really a big, I was like, oh, here we go. And then I just blurted out. I said, Al went home. And that's what I told him. And he was like, I'm so relieved to hear that from you. That's what he said.
He was
Okay,
really-
Actually, when Jessica all popped in after they all passed away.
So basically, what you're saying is that you were the one to confirm with Duncan that Al had passed away.
Yeah. No, not passed away. I told him because he just stared at me and I knew he wanted the answer. And I just went, Al went home. What else am I going to tell him?
Right.
That's
But when you say went
very
home, that you mean, but went home means he died.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
I did this thing with Al before he passed was I called it Coast to Coast. I talked to the manager there and I told him, I said, because my other friend, Ron Amatron, I don't think you know him, but
Oh, we got mute. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
no, I told him, I said, Al was broke and he was, they didn't give him his pension because he was a whistleblower. The Navy wouldn't give him his pension and he was broke. So they announced it on Coast to Coast, if anybody can help Al, send a check or whatever. They gave an address. And my friend went to see him about a couple months after that. He said he walked in and on the table was a stack of checks. They were, in envelopes with checks in them. And he's like, he never cashed them. And then I spoke with Al on the phone and Al was bitching about, after that, Al told me, this is the last time I spoke with Al, he told me that he was really upset because there's hormones in chickens and it's giving the boys breasts. I don't know, but that's what he was complaining about. And then after that, he passed. Yeah, it was really strange.
Any comment on why he never cashed those checks?
I don't think that he had a proper caregiving. That's what I think.
It wasn't like he was going to just hop in a car by himself, go to the bank, and endorse.
He was in Florida at that time, and then he went to New Mexico to his niece's house, and that's where he passed.
Okay.
From what I understand, yeah.
How did you become acquainted with him, Elizabeth? How did you become acquainted with Al?
You going through childhood or my adult years?
You mean you knew him as a child?
I knew him as a child, but in my adult years, I met him at the what was that called? The New Life Expo. The New Life Expos they had at the New Yorker Hotel, and I lived right down the block from the New Yorker. So yeah, we used to work the New Life Expos, and that's how I met him. It's like, you again? Yeah. And I knew his sons too. Morgan and Damien. That was his son.
Damien?
Yeah, go figure. And Morgan and Damien. Oh, there's Al. Oh, I miss him. I had pictures with him, but I don't know where they are. Yeah.
So
He was
Al apparently at
very
some
sweet.
point, Elizabeth, at some point Al was in Jamaica, Queens. And I read that somewhere. I was trying to find it again, but
Yeah.
my mom was born in Jamaica, Queens.
Oh, wow.
And so when I met this girl who's in one of our, she's she was a Dark Outpost follower and now Awake Nation. And I text with her pretty much every day. She's in this group. And she was at a Reawaken tour, and I sent her the map that I drew, which was the map of the disintegration, essentially, of the United States. It was the water map in which I just outlined it. I don't know if I remote viewed it, but I saw it, and that's the map, actually.
Oh, wow.
And so I outlined it, but I also put in districts. Okay, after whatever this calamity is. So I sent her this map, and she was sitting next to D. Do you know who D is?
D, was that a man or a woman?
It's a girl, and so she was born in like the mid or late 30s, and she also knew Art Bell, and she knew Al.
Oh, wow.
And so she was sitting. That's what we do. She's sitting right next to her, and she shows her the map, and she says, "Oh, that's Al's map." And I'm like, "Al who?" I couldn't say his last name, so I said, "Al Bilecki, Al Bilecki," and she's like, "No, Al Bielek." And I'm like, I couldn't say his name, and I'm like, "Who's that?" And so it took a couple of weeks, but I managed to actually talk to her, and she told me some details about certain people, and she said it wasn't actually his map, but it was someone else's, but he had it too. And I don't know if he saw it. Brian, can you tell me, did he see that map when he time traveled? Do you know?
Who, Al?
Yes.
I'm not sure about Al's map. The way I'm familiar with that map isn't because of Al Bielek's map. I'm familiar with it because there's also an Edgar Casey flood map that pretty much overlays with it, and then there's like a Dolores Cannon flood map apparently that pretty much overlays with it, and then there's like a Tibetan monk 100 years ago who's pretty
really.
So there's that's why I'm high and inland.
Yeah, I never saw those maps, and I remember when I did it and I showed it to Susie. She's like, "Oh, I've seen that before." I'm like, "No, you didn't." I outlined that thing when I was in the crazy house. Okay, and I got out after my handler saw it and said, "Yeah, that's about right." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? That's about right." And then I also separated it into districts. So when I saw his on my map, I put sometime after 2023. Wow. And on the one that's prevalent, it says between 2020 and 2025. So we're now in 2024, ladies and gents.
I have to take a call. I'll be right back. Hello.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then also, Brian, we had an individual on our show on the Wake Nation that did a movie on Susie's Ranch about time travel. I don't know if you saw that particular session that we did. So he's a director. He's directed over 50 music videos and over 40 series. He's been on various streaming outlets. He says, his movies are kind of B movies because he can teach you how to make a movie. He made a movie once for $60. He's independent, but this time travel movie, he filmed it on Susie's Ranch. And her brother, James, who had a Christian radio station, died. He was one of the people that was helping with the cars that they would use in the movies. And he died when one of the vehicles fell on him. So this guy's name is Brett Mauser, which is a German name. We had him on the show. And I have yet to talk to him about that time travel movie. But he also has another one. It's called Serial Rabbit. Because I told him, look, I have this little cheap heart that I wear from Amazon. I wear cheap jewelry. I said, and it's a little locket. But inside the locket, I bought this little white rabbit. And I put the white rabbit in there. And he says, I know what you're going to ask me about. So he has a rabbit that's a serial killer rabbit. But it's not just a serial killer rabbit. It's a time travel rabbit.
Oh, wow.
His name's, that's him, Brett Mauser. And so he's been, I said, where are you getting your information? You could have knocked me over with a feather when he told me he has a map on his wall. It's not the flood map, but his map is divided into districts. And I was like, what?
Wow.
So he's currently working on a movie. He's going to be a regular on our show, but he's an awesome resource. Somebody that is a director, but he's indie, because I asked him, why are you indie? And you already know the answer to this, Elizabeth, because when you're under a big major label, you are now a brand, and you do what they tell you to do, and essentially end up perhaps selling your soul. So indie is the way to go. But this guy has these movies, which even David was like, what's this movie? He goes, I said, have you ever had anybody say that you're prophetic? He said, yes, I have. I said, because the things that you're talking about are happening now. And it took him he said it took him 20 years to do the time travel movie that he filmed on part of it on Susie's Ranch.
Wow. That's
So
crazy.
you see, there are many of us out there right now. People don't even know who these people are. Elizabeth, probably people don't know
I'm
who you are.
associated with an underground base that my grandfather was an engineer at, and my uncle, who lived at our house at the time when I was young, he worked there as well. My brother worked there, called Picatinny Arsenal, and it's a Picatinny Arsenal. They make, bombs and bullets and things like that, but underneath it, it goes down. It's very far, and it's.
Where is that? Is that in New York?
It's actually in New Jersey, and I saw it listed as at a time I lived near it as well, within 3 miles near it. Yeah.
Do you think you were part of any of these projects?
My grandmother had a house by there. Picatinny Arsenal. That's it. It's an underground base. Goes down really deep too. It's a underground UFO base. And we were always warned, don't go in the woods over there. So we didn't. Because a lot of nefarious stuff going on.
Not too far from Montauk?
Yeah, that's where my grandmother lived by there.
Your grandmother lived by Montauk?
By Picatinny Arsenal.
Okay.
But Montauk, that's, Rocco just hit me again today. I just spoke to
Really?
Rocco. Yeah. Well, we're in touch.
Yeah, I haven't talked to Rocco since he basically told us to F off.
Are you talking Rocco Fowler?
Yeah.
You wouldn't believe what he's doing now. He's doing cage fighting.
I'm in touch with Rocco too.
Yeah.
Huh?
Rocco came at us a bunch of times, and we tried to assist with him, but after about 3 or 4 times of him telling us to F off, I just said, okay.
That's
all right, then,
Rocco.
I will. See ya.
He's found Christ now. He's chilled out a bit. Yes, he's
He used to
chilled a
go
bit.
off on me like nobody's business. I said,
Yeah,
I
me
used
too.
to get mad at him for scolding his dog.
He's growing up. It's good. It's good.
Yeah. He's going into cage fighting.
Yep.
Wow.
Figure.
I don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah, if he gets in a cage, he might get triggered again. Oh my God.
You take a couple of shots to the head. Not a good idea, man.
He's got a pretty thick skull. They
He
wear
does
headgear.
He does indeed. So, when did you become interested in
He's gonna
like-
kill me for this one.
the
What?
Montauk project? When did you become interested in it?
I didn't even know about it until I met those guys, and then who was it? Phil Gruber was coming over to my studio, and also Glenn Pruitt. He was doing his meditation tapes in my studio. It was just like we all got back together when we were adults. It was really strange. But yeah. But Picatinny Arsenal, I know for a fact they had a rail under there. It went to Picatinny Arsenal to Montauk. So they were taking a lot of the kids in the Pennsylvania, Jersey area around there, because by Delaware Water Gap, there was another underground base over there as well. Rocco was telling me about that. Yeah. There's a lot
Because
of
Rocco has a military family. Did Rocco have a military family?
his father got shot to death in front of him when he was 7 years old.
Was
Somebody
his
came to the door. He opened the door. Boom! Yeah, his father was murdered in front of him when he was 7. But yeah, he
Wow.
spent a lot of time in Montauk. He's got Native American Irish lineage, is what they really go after. Because Preston told me they like that bloodline of the Irish and Native Americans, and Rocco carries the Montauk bloodline, the Native American Montauk.
The Montauk Indians.
Yeah, he's got that in his bloodline.
I wonder how many people do have that, and then also the Algonquin.
Crazy! Oh my God! Huh?
Also the Algonquin Indians.
Mm. Mm.
So, tell us a little bit more about some of the people that you knew.
See, straight line.
You mentioned Rocco.
Straight line. Look at that. That would be easy.
Right.
Ground rail right to there. Camp Hero.
Interesting. Because a lot of times they focus on one particular place, like Montauk. They focus on that, but there are
Yes.
thousands of these. Thousands.
I can tell you. I can show you where the one is in Delaware too. It's right off of Wharton. I don't remember. Hey, there's Rocco.
And right now, and what's great right now is Rocco as an experiencer and then also a survivor of the foster system, which in itself has got all those issues as well. He's now basically helping to promote the work that Ryan Garcia, the famous boxer, is doing to get the word out about, places like Bohemian Grove and high-level ritual abuse and pedophilia and whatnot.
So is Rocco working with Ryan?
No. He's not. He's just doing his own personal videos and hashtagging Ryan. And then a lot of the people who are interested in this, they end up finding from Ryan, they end up finding Rocco as well.
Okay.
He's gonna get mad at us for talking about
Ryan actually disclosed.
No, I'm talking well of him. I'm speaking. I'm letting people know he's got channels.
Why did you tell me?
Why don't you explain to our audience a little bit, Brian, who Ryan Garcia is and what he disclosed most recently?
Yeah, so Ryan Garcia is like literally a world, I don't know if he's middleweight or what level of boxing champion that he is, but he's like that high level. And recently he's revealed about how in his own youth, he was taken to Bohemian Grove and had things done to him and made to watch while things were done to others. And I believe he's had other experiences as well. But since then, given he's got such a high profile as a world-class boxing champion, a lot of the lamestream corporate media has come out, trying to say, oh, he's unstable, he's got drug addictions. He says crazy stuff on his live streams. He breaks down and cries and gets emotional, because blame the guy for being human.
Right.
But that's basically in a nutshell. And part of it is Ryan Garcia here is coming out at the same time. You've got Cat Williams, the comedian, talking about like P. Diddy. And then people are coming out talking about Oprah running around with Jay-Z, and all these connections are starting to come out. So to the point where even the so-called normies, I think, are having a hard time ignoring it.
Yeah. Well, we had a girl on our show. She's got Neuralink in her. It was very difficult to interview her because she, as you know, they get extremely fragmented, and when they're being tortured at the same time, it's very difficult sometimes to keep a cognitive train of thought. And I think she was very brave in coming forward, and she worked for Oprah. She didn't understand the significance as to why we kept saying it. When she said she worked for Oprah, I was like, oh, damn. Right?
Mute Susie. We got the background. Sorry about that.
Right.
So this gal worked for Oprah, and then was she involved in other programs as well?
So
Like
what she said was that she worked for Oprah as an associate director, and then she got in a conflict with her at one point. And then when she left, I think she said she was pregnant and she cut off her cobra. But she sued her because she wanted to write a book, and she had an employment agreement which was basically an NDA, which is for perpetuity. You cannot discuss any of the things that happen when you're working with her. And she lost. But she said it was significantly, she believed that it was significant because after that, she started getting targeted. So that was in like 1998, 99. And then around 2007 is when she, in the early 2000s, she noticed that she was being watched and observed. And then she found out that she had tech in her. And she believes that it is Elon Musk's Neuralink, and that she's involved in the DARPA Brain Initiative. And she's, absolutely sincere. I believe what she's saying. I totally believe what she's saying. And I'm actually trying to get her to be on a couple more shows and hook up with some other people, which is, it's hard to do because you don't trust anyone. And she's being totally tortured. So it's very difficult for her to get her message across. Now, DARPA is working with Elon Musk, by the way, for those people that don't know that. Elon Musk is actually working for the DOD. Developing these various, you will not, I just want to tell our audience, you will not be availed of the reality or the depth of the secret programs that are going on using human experimentation, which they will say that they're not, because on its face, they cannot say that. But we have black projects, which DARPA will never, acquiesce that they're actually involved in. But we have the dark projects of the billionaires like Jeffrey Epstein, who was giving money to scientists worldwide for cloning projects, which I have a person on the show that does cloning, and he did a movie called Cloning the Dead. His name is Panos Zavos. And but he is an ethical individual. And he also has admitted that he is unavailed of all of the possible potentials, but and projects that are going on. But he knows that there's an extreme nefarious aspect which could be utilized for cloning individuals.
Oh, he's great. You got to see him, Dr. Zavos.
I love him. When I first met him, I had said, hey, I believe that I'm the daughter of Joseph Mengele and Irene Schoenbein. I look like Irene Schoenbein. And he said, that's fabulous. And I'm like, no, it's not. And then about 2 years later, I said, would you like to be on the show? And when I got to know him, he's such a nice man. He's got such wonderful morals. He got into the field of andrology, which is the male fertility, where we go to see a gynecologist, but there's no one for the men. So he got into that subject over 40 years ago. He's an innovator in the field, and he tries to help people that cannot have children. And he discusses the possibilities in some of his TED Talks about the future. If there were a future where, let's just say, there was a viral contingency that happened on planet Earth, and as a result, people were sterilized and they couldn't propagate the species, then what would be the ultimate? How would you be able to reproduce? That you would probably turn to cloning, right?
You know about the DNA bank in Switzerland that's holding like billions of people's DNA in it, and it's owned by the Soros family.
Of course it is.
Yeah. Wow.
So let's go back a little bit to Montauk. How many people do you know that were involved in again, I'd like to stipulate that's one of many projects. So I had spoken with Pete Moon at one time and said, hey, Pete, I'm the actual 11 depicted in Netflix Stranger Things. And I kind of got in an argument with him, and I had to write a blog on it. I was very upset with him because he said, well, you're going to have to prove that. And I said, no, I don't have to prove anything. I was on another show where they tried to tell me Fat Boy Preston Nichols, excuse the verbiage, was 11. And I said, no, he wasn't. I said, was he Mrs. Stranger? Because I actually was. The Xenos name means stranger. So, and then I found out some other interesting facts about him. Number one, he's a Scientologist, which that is a cult. And we have an individual on our show His name is Skip Press, and he's a screenwriter. Skip knows everybody from the royal family to he blows my mind some days. And another very interesting person who said he was Mark Twain in another life. And you know, I just must say I'm very privileged to meet people like Brian and like, you know, my best friend Susie, like Brenda and yourself and Andy and all of these individuals that are very unique individuals that have these experiences, historical experiences in their lives that they share with people.
Yeah. Wow.
I think we're realizing how small a world it is.
I called up
Yeah.
Dr. Zavos's office and spoke with his assistant at the front desk there.
You did?
Yeah, to help a friend of mine that needs to get a DNA test done.
Really?
Yeah.
You know, he said we were talking about Michael Jackson and he's a very ethical individual. And we talked about Clonade. He was like, I don't want to talk about those clowns. He said we were in congressional hearings and they were there next to me. But you know, and I believe that they are cloning, but the Ray aliens are just some weird shite.
Oh, I got into a fight with that guy. Oh my god, the guy that runs it, whatever.
Ray aliens.
He was at the New Life Expo, and I came up to him and I said, you know, that I had contact at one time, and I said, you know, they told me to save seeds, like plant seeds. They told me to save seeds, and he goes, the only seeds that are worth anything is the human seed. And then he snapped his finger. He went like this and snapped his finger. Got his goons around me to throw me out.
Wow.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
nasty.
that's very unusual. Look at that. Do you see that symbol? Can you zoom in on that symbol, please? Okay,
Yeah,
so
see?
now Kanye West posted this symbol.
Oh, no.
Okay, and he got kicked off of X. He got suspended for a little bit because
Wow.
Elon was like, "Why are you posting a Nazi, you know, a Nazi symbol on, you know, what is wrong with you?" Because he did come out and say, "Hey, Hitler was a good guy." You're like, seriously? Wow, you are disturbed, Mr. West. And but it's not a Nazi symbol. It is, because you see the Nazi symbol hooked up in that with the Star of David, but that's the Clonade symbol that he posted.
I'm going to come out and say it. I've not heard good things about these folks. And so
No.
if they don't allow me at any of their events, I'm not that sorry.
Oh, seriously? Are they still having events, Brian?
I've heard. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, look at this. This is the latest. It looks like the Raelian movement supports sexual freedom. Ray.org.
Yes, they actually are proponents of sex with children, Brian.
Oh, God. Right. And that's why that's what I'm talking about. That's not cool.
Yes, that's why Panos Zavos said there are freaks. They're not, you know, they take something that he is a clinician and he wants to benefit mankind. He doesn't want to hurt mankind. He wants to benefit mankind. He wants to help with male infertility. He wants to help with, you know, having a good diet. He's not about, you know, aliens and sex with children. You know, that's not who he is. He's a very, you know, and the more that I find that he's got a great sense of humor, very positive person. And I love the positive aspect because there's so much damning things that are going on right now, guys, that you really need to keep a positive eye on things because it's very difficult. You have to focus on the positivity. That's what I like about everyone that's in this group. What happened to Susie?
I don't know. I just messaged her and asked her where she went.
Okay.
I know she's having problems with the earpiece thing again. It's apparently it wasn't charged all the way up. So
right, that's what I told her. It has to be charged before she uses it. But we know now that it works. So hallelujah.
What was that? Oh, that outside we have dumpsters. So when I'm right next to the migrant shelter, so they use our dumpsters. Sometimes they slam them. Man, they just set off my PTSD.
Now,
No,
I
no.
did want to ask
It's
you.
like bam, you get the gun. You know.
Right.
You said that you had to
I'm in
take this
Chicago.
evening off, Elizabeth. So I did want to ask you, please feel free to promote the place that you're working at.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's the only one in the country. We need more buildings like this. It's very special.
Can you tell
I
us
got really
tell us about it and tell us about the the directorship of it?
What's it called?
Oh, I should get her on your show. Gail runs it. It's called Home Opportunities. How does it? It's for elderly people. It's just actually the upstairs. The top floor is a senior facility, and that's where I volunteer work in the kitchen. And downstairs it's intergenerational families. We got people that are the oldest lady here is 92.
Wow.
And the one that just called me on the phone before that, but she's 80. Yeah, there's a lot of elderly people here, and I promised them like, oh, you'll never wind up in a nursing home with us around because we take care of each other, and it's really good. The community kitchen's a lot of fun.
Hey, what's the address?
It's well, I don't want to give my address out online here.
Not your address.
I'm
Is
in
this? Oh, it's the
politics
same.
too, so
Oh, got it.
yeah,
Never mind.
you know,
Okay,
I got,
but it's
I got a
okay.
lot of so that are in political field.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, when I ask people on the show, hey, where can people find you? I don't actually mean like, can they like hunt you down? Find you where you are.
house.
You know, I have to have a better
Oh,
thing for
no.
that. Like, how can people contact you? Not where can people find you? Because many people on the show are triggered. Like, what? I don't want
Yeah.
anyone finding me.
Well, I do political research in Chicago for I have friends that are in politics as well. So there's a lot of dirt. You would not believe the stuff these families to get away. I mean, I'll say this in general: the Pritzkers aren't what you think they are. You know what I'm saying? It's like
What are they?
background. Well, let's put it this way: that Pritzker about 2 years ago, he bought out a laundry service, and the laundry service that subcontracts to the migrants are, there's a laundry service that subcontracts under the service that he owns that does the laundry for the migrant shelters. So he's making bank. You know, he's not a stupid man per se, and it just goes on and on. It's his family is quite complicated. And Penny Pritzker was in charge of economic development for Ukraine.
What's her name?
Penny Pritzker.
Really?
Yeah. And she was the force behind Obama as well.
Oh,
So,
interesting.
and they are not what you think they are.
I mean, you
Right,
have
because they're in mafia.
you have such a vast understanding, political, socio, involving legal and the entertainment industry, just very well rounded. And you're such a giving and loving person. And you know,
Boy, do I got you fooled.
you helped me immeasurably.
I got you
Elizabeth.
fooled.
Yeah, I know
No,
you.
no,
I've
no,
known you
no,
for a while.
no. Now I'm going to step in. I am
There
going
we
to tell
go.
you what a wonderful person that Elizabeth is. Now, I'm going to show you. She got me these. I
Wow.
treasure them. I can't wear them because my earlobes aren't big enough. But these are awesome. They are. And let's see if I can get it in here right.
Oh,
They
yeah. Oh,
They are spaceship earrings with little tassels on them. And then wait, because she also got me these ones that I'm wearing, the little silver ones. And what they are is they're little spaceships with the beam that comes down and Bigfoot on them. So
Oh my God.
she is she is
I
so
didn't even
awesome.
find that. Not only that, but like once a month on occasion, more than likely, she gives money for Lily's food. So Lily, I feed her wet food, and her wet food is like $40 a month just for the wet food, not including the dry food. And then Brian has been giving me money for the big dogs, which it costs for 4 bags, 50-pound bags, it's $100. It's like $98 for 4 bags of 50-pound dog food, and they'll go through a bag in like a day and a half.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to thank you both for being such kind individuals and
Aw.
and for loving dogs. And so who was it that you said didn't like dogs? Madonna?
Madonna.
Right. That tells me if you don't love dogs, that tells me something about you. Because when I remember when I married Steve Zenos, whose name means stranger, I was Mrs. Stranger. Uh just everyone's like, you're not really her. Okay, whatever. I had a band named Stranger. So when I married him, one of the testimonies that I had was I wanted to get 2 dogs, and I always want 2 dogs because they keep each other company, especially if you're working. And that was my judge of character. If you treat a dog poorly, I don't want to be with you, because dogs are unconditionally, they love you. And I think that they have to, they get abused just like human beings. Human
No,
beings.
remember that video that Madonna did with the little chihuahua that she had, and she had a whip and she was like spanking his butt, the little chihuahua.
I don't remember that,
She
but
had a little chihuahua in one of her videos, and she took away. You know what I'm talking
I
about?
do. I remember.
That
Yes.
was like, what the heck? What?
yeah, I mean,
that
if you,
chihuahua belonged to
and yet she has children, which I looked up the children. I don't know if they were from Haiti. Were her two? She had 2 twins, and then a boy also. And I looked up their lineage, and their lineage actually goes to witches
Wow.
and warlocks.
Wow.
The
Well, she
lineage
did
of the
hang out with
children.
Diane von Furstenberg, who was a heavy duty witch too. Her and Vanderbilt, both of
Yes.
them.
And
Yeah.
Vanderbilt. Now, did you know any of these people? Did you meet any of them? Because they're New Yorker people.
No, but I lived down this when I was working in Connecticut. I lived down the street from Diane von Furstenberg's house, and she had a big fence around it and about 20 Dobermans. That's about it.
Dobermans and Shepherds seem to be, the choice. We had a Doberman when I was younger, and the Doberman was very protective. But here's a really weird thing, Elizabeth. So I was raised by. I know now my father was not my father, but my mom was gay, and she had an individual that lived with us that I called my aunt, and the last name was Minger. Very similar to Mingale, right?
Yes.
And so at one point, my mom had a baby. What did you just say they were called? I was going to say Dalmatian. It's not Dalmatian. The dogs.
Doberman.
Yes, she had a Doberman, a baby Doberman, and my cousin was born before me. My fake cousin, which she looked exactly like me. Okay, so that's weird. How could she be my fake cousin? She looked exactly like me, so much so that her mom one time called me by her name, and I was sitting right next to her mom in the car. And I'm like,
Wow.
no, Judy, this is Penny. I'm not Lynn. So that's how close we looked to one another. So this one day they were over at our house, and the Doberman wouldn't let me and we called her Little Lynn, wouldn't let us off the couch. Started growling at us, looked at her, looked at me. Now, you know that they don't care what you look like. They know what your smell is, right?
Yeah.
So something about us confused a dog, that the dog started growling at us and looking at her, looking at me, looking at her, looking at me. And I was like, what's wrong with you? Right.
Oh my God.
So did the dog know that like one of us was cloned, or both of us were cloned, or do you know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
You should have just looked over at her and pointed at the dog and said she did it.
Right. I just know she's the clone, not me. But then I can't even say that, because I know that we were involved in these cloning projects, which an individual like Panos wouldn't be apprised of any of these black projects. He's worked his whole life to do the right thing. And as we know in The Boys from Brazil, which I think was that 78, the movie that when it came out?
Al told me to watch that movie. Al
Did you?
Gilly told me to watch that movie, yes.
Why did he tell you to watch it?
He said I'd find it very interesting. I actually sat with him one time. Remember that show V?
Yes.
Yeah, I sat with Al. Al was like 3 feet away from the TV watching V. He loved that show.
Did he think that there were real people?
Well,
Do you
he
think
said
that V
there
was
were a lot of
possible?
great stories, huh?
Did
He was interested in the reptilians on V.
You know, we had Tracy Torme was on our show for the longest time. Tracy Torme did Fire in the Sky with Travis Walton. He was the son of Mel Torme. I still miss him. He died this past year.
Mel Torme?
Yes, he was the son
You
of Mel
said,
Torme.
oh, I knew him in New York. We used to go to his shows.
You knew
Yeah.
Mel?
Yeah, my friend was his bass player.
Really?
Yeah, he was great.
He was
Mel
great.
so good.
He loved his
Yeah.
children,
Yes. Yeah.
and he was married like, I don't know, 4 times.
But I'll tell you why there's like Madonna and them, they adopt these children because they get they'll build a trust for the child, the children's trust, and that way they can escape from paying taxes. So
Can
they
you
can
click
dump
on one of those, Brian, so
20,
we can tell their name?
$30 for the child's trust and not have to pay taxes. That's why a lot of them do that. That's why they adopt a lot of these kids. Yeah.
That's a lot of kids. That's 6 kids. So she is.
Each one has a trust fund. Each one. You dump
is Lord.
$30 million and not have to pay taxes.
One is named Rocco. One is David. One is Mercy. And then the twins are Stella and Esther. So I looked to see. Do we know where she adopted them from?
Oh, what was that? Malawi.
Okay, so Stella
Wow.
and Esther, and it might be one of the older ones. Where they came from, I researched the lineage of that particular peoples, and it
Wow.
goes to people that are seers and that are also witches.
Wow.
And so I wonder, because Madonna, she has cohesiveness sometimes, and sometimes she doesn't. And like she was singing during COVID, she was singing into a hairbrush to like a virgin, but talking about fish
Yeah.
fry, right? And for someone who was brought up in a strict Catholic family, it appears to me that she is indeed satanic and pretty much blaspheming.
She was under Gloria Vanderbilt. Well, from what I understand from Jesse Zebetar said she was under the tutelage of Gloria Vanderbilt. Yeah.
Right. And we know from other reports that apparently Gloria Vanderbilt was a so-called Illuminati queen, and at one of their mansions with a swimming pool. Here's satanic imagery right there. They would tie kids up with it at the swimming pool.
Crazy.
Yeah. And then these are the kids. And then some people are alleging that the one of her Anderson's brother who apparently died is actually became Kathy Griffin. But this show is for entertainment purposes only. I'm gonna just let you guys know this show's for entertainment purposes only.
Yeah. There you go. Mm-hmm. Well, I can't even look at her without getting a headache. Oof.
So as you know, her son is Anderson Cooper, who is married to a man, and they just had a baby as well. About maybe 2 years ago. Oh, Kathy Griffin, she's another one.
Well, that's supposed to be the brother who supposedly died, became Kathy Griffin.
You see the similarity.
Yeah, there is similarities. I don't know where Kathy Griffin
so weird.
came from. But not a very kind individual. And these days she looks nothing like that.
See, this one became that one.
Wow. Yeah, there's something going on there.
This is speculation, entertainment purposes only, folks.
Yes. And she recently got divorced because her family actually likes Trump, his family, her husband, ex-husband.
Yeah.
Go figure, right? Because she came out with a head, a bloody head of Trump.
Wow.
Just not a very nice individual.
Oh, I got one for you. I just recently. Oh, by the way, P. Diddy wrote a book about adrenochrome back in the 90s.
He did?
Heard about that? Yeah.
No,
I'll send
I
you
did
the
not know
info
that.
on it. Yeah, he wrote a book about adrenochrome. It's called Adrenochrome and the Witch. Yeah. And it was like $40 for 7 pages.
What
Yeah.
What was the point of the book? Do you know?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna have to get it. The Adrenochrome Witch. There you go. That's it. And he was naming names and everything in the book, from what I heard. Oh, look, it's $100 now. What do you
Right.
know?
It's more than likely it's $100 because it didn't have he didn't have distribution, which is weird, right? Because
Wow.
it's P. Diddy. When did
You
he
know
write
what? Get on your show is Cool G Rap. You know who that is?
No, I don't.
He was the godfather of rap, and he was huge back in the day. And I asked him, did approach him to join his company, and I asked G, I said, why did you turn down Diddy's offer? He goes, no, he goes, I don't want to be in that club.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's G. There's my G. I got his number. I'm going to give him a call.
Yes, please do. Give him my send him
Friends
my
with,
card.
I will. He's friends with Maya as well. He's good friends with Maya.
We're bringing on a myriad of just different individuals, getting perspectives from anywhere from the entertainment industry to political people that are awake and that are running for office. And
oh wow, really? Okay,
yes.
That's
So
right up my alley
we have
right
directors, producers, writers, authors, people that are in the political realm. We've had
I'm trying to get Sheriff Lamb. Oh my God.
yeah, you know what? I think I texted him and I never heard back from him.
Yeah, I have to go through his people.
But you sent me a lot of really good people that we have on the show right now.
Oh, I have this lady. I talked to this lady this week. Oh, I'm sorry. I talked to this lady this week. She's got Bigfoot on her property. She hangs out with Bigfoot.
I got to say something.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yes,
Darling.
Brian, this show is for educational and entertainment purposes only. What we say may or may not be real, but it's of our opinion only.
Right.
Don't take anything I said.
And boy, we have big opinions.
Right. Do not sue Brenda because of something I said. Thank you, everybody.
I actually have a complaint email. It's BobbyDizzle.com.
Oh my goodness. Oh, I got another one for you, Penny. There's a book out called Behind the Shylights Music, written by Darren Cuby. That was the son of one of the Shylights. And he talks about satanic rituals that the Jacksons were involved with in his basement of his house.
What's the name of the book?
Joe Jackson doing satanic rituals with the
yes. Well, you do know that that the godfather for Michael was Sammy Davis Jr., who was a Satanist.
Whoa!
An avowed Satanist.
Whoa!
I still have people saying, Michael Jackson was good, and that I had somebody say that Joe Jackson was a good guy. No, Joe Jackson was not a good guy. He actually raped his children and beat them. And
sold Michael to high-level executives. Did you know that one?
I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it.
And they did that Baphomet. It's like from turning into a woman.
I really think that those kids did not even get to have any kind of a childhood at all.
No, they didn't. They worked day and night. And I mean, just look at Joe's face. Joe is not a good person.
Yeah, there he is. I'll send you an audio clip about the Shylights where they talk about it. Yeah. Yeah, he was doing rituals in the basement of the. I think his name was Daryl. It was what was his name? I gotta look it up again. Darren Cuby was the son, and Seidel Red Jones was one of the founders of the Shielites, and they were having satanic rituals in the basement of his house with Joe Jackson and the Jackson Five.
How do you spell that name? Gary Cuby?
It's called. Look up the book Inside the Shielites. Inside the Shielites Music.
How do you spell the Shielites? Message.
CHI-LITES, and it's a book written by Darren Cuby, Cubie. I just read that this week. I was like, well, just a portion of it. I was like, whoa, woo, that was heavy. It's all coming out. It's all that with P Diddy and all the crap he was doing.
Oh, and it ain't
All
done.
going to go up to the highest
in
Rock Nation.
In my opinion, it ain't done because I personally don't think that Diddy would go down alone.
Oh no, definitely not. They're going to
Yeah.
hold him just like they did with Epstein.
We're about to
Hold him
see
and torture him, get all the information out of him.
yeah, I think we're about to
like
see what
Epstein.
loyalty really is.
Woohoo! It's coming. I heard Epstein's being held in Greenland in the Gitmo base up there. That's what I heard.
The Kraken.
No. The Kraken.
That's it. That's the
The
book.
Kraken that never actually got unleashed in the
Oh,
political
oh.
arena. That is.
Well, yeah.
It's going to be huge. Yeah. And I just found out this other lady, she has royal blood from the Egyptian days. She still holds the royal bloodline. And she was just, I got to get you. I'll send you info about her, Penny. I promise she'd be a great guest.
Yes, and definitely send my my info to Cool G because I need to talk to some people.
We got to get him and Maya together.
Cool
They haven't
G.
spoken. They're like,
I need to find out because I had
I
an
remember
individual
him.
who would speak to me about some things that were going on in the music industry.
Yeah.
Also, Jimmy Levy's mother is going to be coming on the show. She is a world-renowned psychic, and Jimmy Levy is an incredible musical artist. And apparently, his mother just posted something on Facebook that he was at Mar-a-Lago and was singing at Mar-a-Lago this last weekend. And I guess like an opening for church for Easter at Mar-a-Lago. But his background, I did not know his background, and he was into some heavy duty satanic stuff.
Ooh.
So he's vocal. He's not anymore. He's saved by God.
Oh.
I found out that that is like the #1 religion in the world, which
It is.
I'm not sure how that happened. I mean, well,
I
I know how that happened, but
Yes, because you have people actually in the Christian community which aren't Christians. They're fake Christians. They're in there they're in there to, like the Pharisees were. The Pharisees interpreted the word of God for the people and told you, well, you need to go through me. So pay me some bucks and go through me like a diviner, and I'll tell you what God said. No, and that's what Jesus was trying to say. You don't need these intercessors. You go directly to God. And nothing's changed in that vernacular. And they're also, the mega pastors are using the Bible to MK Ultra people. I was literally MK Ultra'd. I remember when my agent, who I then found out from my first husband is my brother, we were having an affair, in the 90s. I didn't find out until 2017 that he was my
I feel for you.
This was in the 90s. And in 2017, my husband tells me this, and I spent about 5 minutes of just explicatives. So in the 90s, we're having an affair. We go to a fair that he's booking out there, and he says to me, after he eats a cinnamon bun that's as big as his face, He goes, "Hey, you want this?" I go, "John, I don't eat fried foods," and so he eats it, and he buys it, and I turn around and I turn back around and it's gone, and I'm like looking, where did that go? So he says, "Do you want to know why my parents named me John?" And I'm like, "Not really, okay." But
Wow.
I know you're going to tell me, so go ahead. So he says they named him after a Bible verse. There was a man sent from God. His name is John. That's how he put it. 30 years later, a pastor told me he was going to do something, and this pastor got kicked out of his church. His name is James McDonald, in case you want to look him up. He got kicked out of his church for fiscal malfeasance, for essentially stealing money out of a slush fund. He got kicked out. He'll never be back in that church again. That's where Dallas Jenkins is. Dallas Jenkins' daddy is Jerry Jenkins, who did the Left Behind series. The Left Behind series he wrote with Timothy LaHaye. Timothy LaHaye founded Scott Memorial. Scott Memorial was then became Shadow Mountain, and I was married at Shadow Mountain. And I think Shadow Mountain is actually the Shadow
This
Government.
is crazy. Oh my God, there's too many coincidences. That's woo. You
Right?
got the life.
So
Wow.
anyway, he starts this sermon this one day, and he says, "I'm going to do something I've never done before." And he says, "I'm going to prophesy." And I'm like, "What's that?" Right? Even though I've had dreams that come true my whole life, I don't know what he's talking about. Right? I'm going to prophesy. And I've only done this once before. So he says something. He starts talking about, and I had asked God, should I represent secular musicians or, people in the religious aspect, because I was going to start representing people, or so I thought. And and then I said, and by the way, God, can you tell me who my next husband's going to be? The girls know exactly what I'm talking about because that's a girl thing. So he gets out there and he says, "I'm going to prophesy." And he looks right at me. Now I'm in the second row, and I've been there for almost a year on and off because I'm going to a couple of different churches. And there's a deaf guy sitting in front of me, and every time I sing, he turns his hearing aid off because I'm that loud. And so he says, and that guy's been there for 40 years, okay, in the same seat. He says, "I'm going to prophesy." And what he says is he starts talking about Sarah, right? Laughing because she didn't believe God, that she was actually going to have a child because she was like in her 80s. Ha ha ha. That's hysterical. Really?
Oh yeah.
God is God, girlfriend. Anyway, so he starts talking about John. And I'm like, no, don't talk about John. And he says, there was a man sent from God. His name is John. Can you imagine how his father and the son must have felt, right? And I'm just like,
Wow.
oh my God. So I actually got triggered by that, so much so that I felt like I'd been hit by a Louisville slugger in the stomach. I got up, I was dizzy. I walked outside, and then I went straight over to Bill Hybels' church. Bill Hybels also fell due to allegations of sexual impropriety within his church. And so I started writing about the mega pastors on my blog, which is Shepherd, SHEPART, and the word entertainment.blogspot.com. So you can go there, and there's a section in which I wrote about the Illuminati pastors, and the musicians and actors are the false idols of today because
Oh my
they
God.
are. Thoughts,
True.
Brenda?
No.
Brenda?
Sorry, I was talking to Susie.
Wow, that's heavy. Woo. So what
Yeah.
is the blog spot again? Are you gonna
It's called Shepherd, SHEPARD, the word entertainment
Shepherd Entertainment.
.blogspot.com.
Okay,
That's-
got it.
That's
And
all the
so
stuff that you're
I
going to
was-
put together.
I already have. So I
Okay.
haven't written on it in a year and a half, but when I was made homeless, and I remember talking to John and saying, "I see you now, John," but I didn't see anything then. Now I do. I said, "I'm going to write a blog called See Me Now because I see you now." I said, "My brother David was murdered." I didn't know that he knew David and that he might actually be an individual who's perhaps responsible for what happened to David. But I can't say that with any assurity. But It looks like that. And
This is the year of exposure. It's all going to come out.
it will. You know, I know that some of these things, he even denies that he's my brother, but I know he is, because my husband told me that. My ex-husband told me that, and then he died 3 weeks later of a heart attack. And I've forgiven him for any bad things he ever did to me in our life and in our marriage. And because he redeemed himself in my eyes. He actually told me the truth about something that I didn't even know that he knew. And
Wow.
I want to ask all of you, do you think that there's a chance, if you're involved, because we were talking a little bit about Jimmy Levy, if you're involved in the satanic side, that you can actually come out of it? I'm going to ask each of you that question.
I do believe that you can. You probably have to work really hard at it. And you definitely have to separate yourself from anybody and everybody that was involved in the same thing and get them out of your life. But I think that God has a place in his heart for forgiveness and always has, and loves everybody equally. But I do think that you can make a comeback from something like that, but you better stay on the straight and narrow.
No,
Elizabeth, what do you think?
I've never really been, I just shut the door on that one. I've never been to any rituals. I've never hung out with any Satanists that I know of, even though there was a lot of death metal guys in the buildings that I was in, the music building on 38th Street especially. But no, I just, I got to back up off of that one because I really don't understand it and don't really know much about it. So, but can they be redeemed? Yeah. I think if they throw it all in front of God and say, please take this off of me, get it off of me, devote themselves to God, of course. Yeah, because God worked miracles in my life. They always come after the bright lights too. If you got a bright light, they'll attack you left, right, and sideways. But you have to have the armor of God around you. God will protect you. He'll send his protection angels in because he's done it for me. And I wouldn't be sitting here if it wasn't for him. That's true. So,
Brian, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think everything that Elizabeth just said, I 100% agree with that. And then this is where I always take the opportunity to say to all the people on the wrong side of the fence out there, in addition to getting right with God, part of that is getting right with your fellow humans. So if you're on the wrong side of the fence and you have information on where kids are being, harvested or whatever, or you've got the dirt on some politician, or the Swiss bank account number to like the people paying for chemtrailing, this is a time to come clean, because that the time for you to get right with God and the rest of us is drawing nigh. And so, don't dilly-dally. Don't diddy-dally, all right?
it's coming. Well, they have a saying in Chicago, don't ever eat at the senator or the governor's house, because you might wake up to a video of you doing something nefarious that you don't even remember.
Because they were roofing him. Can you tell us a little bit about tell us a little bit about the governance in Chicago? What are your feelings regarding the governance?
There's a lot of people are losing trust in the politicians, especially the mayor. I mean, this whole, I researched this about the migrant crisis, and the reason why they opened up the borders, they look at humans as commerce. And ever since, and you guys already know this about your birth certificates and how it goes into the, let's say Washington, D.C. That's actually a district of the crown.
We're cattle.
London, yeah, because when your birth certificate is registered in the county, it goes into the city registrar, which goes into Washington, D.C., and then they give you an employee number. That number on your birth certificate is actually considered an employee number, which goes into the city of London, which is all under the crown. It goes into the Bank of International Settlements, where they take bonds out against your birth certificate. They look at your family's background, how much taxes they paid, I mean, they do the counting, accounting, see? And that gets, it's then that's where Wall Street gets involved
But
with the bond.
I heard this saying
Yeah, they
one
cash
time.
out the interest. But with the migrants, they also have birth certificates. So wherever they land, whatever county, their the price the value of their birth certificates gets transferred into that county. And that's why the reason I believe is Cook County is, we're getting a high influx of migrants here, and that's I figure what's going on, because eventually they're going to change the bookkeeping system. They're already doing it into digital IDs, and that's basically what they want to do. That's why they have the open door. They're being so generous to the migrants, because they want the migrants to turn around and tell their families down there, hey, come on up to the United States, Yeah. And it's all about commerce. It's all, each one of us has a price on our head for a birth certificate.
Well, I heard it say that
Yeah.
we were never meant to be born poor. Okay. Nobody was. And it was I can't mention any names, but the powers that be who decided that we're cattle. We make them money.
Because they're in
that's not the way that was meant to be. It's not the way it's supposed to be. And people have learned to become so complacent that that's how they get away with it. I remember growing up, the government would do something. I would hear my parents say, "Oh, them stupid people," but they never did anything about it because they forgot. They work for us, and they have forgotten that years ago.
It's all under the crown. Your taxes, it all goes to the crown through Washington, D.C., the City of London, and then the Vatican gets a cut of that. You see?
Elizabeth, I told you before that I met an individual who was an orchestra leader who eventually asked me to represent him. And the night that I went down to see him, it was at the Green Mill.
I was there the other day.
Were you? Did you go on Thursday?
Yeah, I didn't go in. I was in front of it. I took a picture.
So you know exactly where it is. Yeah. And on Thursday nights is when he plays. He's been there for, 20 years now, playing Alan Gressick Orchestra. And the night that I went down there, Mayor Emanuel was there to see Alan.
Oh, wow.
And not just Mayor Emanuel, but when we left, I said, gee, that's weird that the mayor was here. He said, I didn't know the mayor was coming. I'm like, really? And so we were going outside in the mayor's retinue. Now, for people who don't know who Mayor Emanuel is, Mayor Emanuel was Obama's chief of staff. Okay. And then he ended up being, mayor of Chicago. What do you know about Mayor?
Look at how evil he looks. His eyes, similar to Lori Lightfoot's.
Yes.
What do they do to these people?
I don't know. It looks like they got their, just everything sucked out of them when they go into office.
Eddie Pritzker, who's a mother of darkness, put Obama into action, put him into power. You see? There was some real nefarious shit.
And she was really pretty. And so I was told at that time, and I was in contact with my handlers, Darrell. I was in contact with Darrell. But he also said that, he said, that's not all. I said, what's not all? He said, the mayor of London is here.
Oh, my God.
And I was like, I had no political acumen at the time.
The mayor of the city of London or regular London, Westminster?
Sadat Khan was there with him. Wow. To see my date.
The mayor of the city of London. Oh, that's huge.
Yes, and Mayor Emanuel. They were both there at the same time.
That's
and
huge.
Alan is a brilliant individual. He's a pianist. It's his orchestra. There's 18 players.
Are you putting me on a spy mission?
I'll leave that up to your discretion.
I'll talk to you about that in private.
Yeah. talk about that after the show.
I have somebody I want to
Investigative journalist.
So,
And then,
Woo!
and subsequently, I saw another article that had been done on him in a jazz magazine, where John Majors came to see him twice. He was the PM. So
Wow.
the day that I went down there, it was September 15th, which turned into September 16th. And I was afraid that my pictures were going to show up with them somewhere, because they were taking pictures, and they also had a camera.
Probably in Madonna's collection.
I don't know. But no pictures
I'll be surprised if she probably was in your
no
audience.
pictures were in the paper. But there's a chair there that used to be Al Capone's chair that everyone sits in for the band.
Oh, wow. Ow. I didn't know that part. Wow.
So it's that venue's been there, I was told, for about 110, 115 years. I think my grandmother might have sung there, because my grandmother.
I know
was
that
dancing
table. I know that table with the Al Capone picture. That's right behind the bar. Yeah. Yeah, that
Wow.
place is so haunted.
I was gonna say, I've heard he kind of strolls around there. I would really love to go in there. I have friends that live out there. I think about going to visit.
Wow.
I love places that either still have entities in them or are haunted.
Well, when you go into I think they repaired the bathrooms, but when you go into the girls' bathroom, scrolled on one of the doors, said Momo was here. I'm like, seriously? That was like 50 years ago. You might want to redo the bathrooms.
Did Momo still leave herself in the bathroom?
Momo was a guy, so why was Momo in the girls' bathrooms writing on the wall?
Oh,
Just
well,
ask him.
you never know. Momo might still be using women's bathrooms. We are getting ready to run out of time here, though, folks. It has been very enlightening tonight.
I can go.
Elizabeth, I have missed you. You
I
need
missed
to
you.
not
I
be
was phoneless for 2 months. I had an Android, and I was like, this fucking thing. So I wound up, I bought an iPhone, so I'm good now.
Yeah, I did. I missed you. I was like, I kept asking Susie all the time, have you talked to Elizabeth?
I've
Is
been
she
doing
okay?
that.
I've been so worried about you being out there. But okay, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and do that roundup tonight. Penny LA Shepherd. Lead
Yes,
us
so
off.
you can find me here on most Fridays and Saturdays. And Beyond the Box is from 9. This is Central Time, 9 to 11, and then from 10 to midnight on Fridays and Saturdays. And then also my main show that I absolutely love is with David Zublik. It's called The Awake Nation, and we broadcast live Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. That's Central, and from 9 to 12 noon Eastern. And we also have the Dark Outpost, which we haven't been posting there, but we're getting ready to resume some shows there. And that is it's darkoutpost.tv. It's subscription based. And then also I, on occasion, am working with Christy Tasker, who's running for Miami mayor. And she has Patriots Perspective. She also has Banana Republic News, which I may start writing for that as well. And if you want to help Suzanne Hot out with her with funding she has something like 35 horses, and she takes she takes in horses that are not in the best of health. She also has cows. She also has dogs. She has about 20 dogs, and
I love Boo Boo Horse. I think I'm going to adopt Boo Boo Horse.
Right? Then, yeah, you can always
adopt an animal.
Yeah, and then so you can send to her PayPal, which is bowarrowhorses@yahoo.com, or any contributions you can also send to me at Shepherd, SHEPARD Entertainment @gmail.com. And I just want to thank everybody for contributing to the show. I think it's going to be get a much bigger following. We've already achieved just a little inkling on that. And then also we have Brian is also on the Awake Nation every other Friday, and he speaks regarding the Super Soldier program. So I'm going to turn it over to Brian.
Yeah, I can be found. Thank you, Penny. I'm a co-contributor on Awake Nation every other Friday, and I can be found on Facebook here. You can find me with a Willy Wonka. It's a dumpster fire of a platform, but
I love your logo, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Yep, this is for the 2024 Full Disclosure Now conference, which can be found at fulldisclosuremovement.org. And our lineup is still growing.
Oh,
and
wow.
Yeah, and every time I look at it,
Heavy hitters.
We got heavy hitters. I'm even more proud, and the lineup is growing.
Oh, Sean
So,
Blunt. I know him. Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay, oh good. Well,
Sean
hopefully
worked
you can
on
make
me.
it. Hopefully you can join us in Florida, Elizabeth, come July.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would be kind of cool.
I'm doing another thing. Yeah. Sounds like
Now-
a plan.
Now with Elizabeth here, if you want to contact her, she can tell you a little bit, but I think you have to go through us first.
Yeah,
And that's fine.
I'm elusive, you guys. I'm doing politics in Chicago. I can't really be seen. I got,
I worry
You
so
know, I
much
keep
about
on the
you out
down
there.
low.
See, that's it.
You're very
We need to
down low.
It's not the only
we need to
person.
pack her
I
up.
do want to say anybody that would like to come on this show
Yeah.
or on the Awake Nation, you can text my phone at 619-779-9771. That's 619-779-9771. Please say who you are, because I won't answer unless you're in my contacts. And you can also email me at penny@darkoutpost.com or penny@theawakenation.com or shepherdentertainment@gmail.com. And again, we're looking for people from just have epic historical experiences in a particular area. You're whistleblowing on something. It doesn't have to be paranormal per se. In the entertainment industry, not in the entertainment industry, a writer, a targeted individual, a person that's a super soldier, involved with Montauk or other projects. If you think that you might be a good fit on this show or on the Awake Nation, and you can watch us at theawakenation.com or at David Zublick's channel, because it's David Zublick's The Awake Nation, on Rumble. And Brian, do you have a Rumble channel yet?
We haven't yet moved over to Rumble. We're still Disclosure Now on YouTube. It's myself and Arkeem Ra, who is a Montauk survivor and will be at the conference with us.
You should invite Rakeem here.
Oh yeah, I would. I'd love to. I'd love to. Now that he's relocated with his lady to Portland, I think his availability will increase now.
Excellent.
I'm still floored that you knew Rocco. I'm just floored.
Susie and I have known Rocco for a couple of years now, and every once in a while we just re-engage.
Yeah.
As we all walk down the road of life together, sometimes our roads converge for a little bit, and then they veer off into another direction, and then they come back and converge again. So like I tell Brian, I always give people second and third chances in the hopes that they always give me second and third chances as well.
Yeah.
Well,
He's
I know that
he's doing good. That's all I can say right now.
I know that I have just totally enjoyed doing this show from day one. I got Susie on there.
Wow.
She's like my little cohort. And then we got Penny. We've adopted Brian, Tom. It's been wonderful. We got Andy sitting down there, just waves. He's a good boy. And it's just been great. And everybody out there that's watching, that likes and shares and subscribes, our subscribers have gone up tremendously. And we appreciate it so much.
Brenda, are you on X?
I am, and I
Can you tell
do
people how they can
stream on
follow
X.
you?
Huh?
Can you tell people how they can follow you on X?
Uh, you know,
Really?
yeah, I don't even. I think it's just under my name.
McKenna Larkage?
Yeah, I
Thank
think so. I don't. You
Okay.
know, I have it where I just click on it and I go right to my page. I never sign out. So
Well, mine is under Shepherd Out. If you want to follow me, apparently I was in. Now I'm out. Brian, are you on X?
I think I'm on there, but I try to get everyone to try to not only send me a friend request on Facebook, but send me a message to let me know where you saw me, so that I know you're not like a crypto scam. Yeah.
Right.
I'm also on IG, Instagram under Shepherd Out, and we do a little news segment for about half an hour first thing on the show to apprise you of what's going on in the neighborhood and in the world. And I forget what I was going to say. Did you know that King Charles? They just announced he has pancreatic cancer, and I had a friend that just died of that, and they've given him 2 years, but it's my suspicion it might be a lot shorter than that. So then what happens?
Pancreatic
amazing.
cancer is fast. It's generally
Yeah.
eats up people way faster than 2 years. It's got like a 95% fatality rate.
And I think, and I do remember hearing myself. Don't remember where I heard it. Maybe I do remember and just don't want to say. But I remember that, he was going to come down with that a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Right?
When I was in Branson, when I was having all those visions, when I was in Branson, one of them was 5 kings in coffins.
Wow.
Look, they're planning his funeral plans already.
Yes.
Funeral plans are planned.
They're like,
I'm not dead
London
yet.
Bridge, like London Bridge is falling down. So they had like a whole strategized plan for when a royal that's on the throne dies, and I don't know what this new one is called, but with Queen Elizabeth, it was a London Bridge.
Operation London Bridge, or
Yes.
fall. Yeah, right. That's right. It's falling down.
Isn't the
This
real
one,
London
this one,
Bridge
this one should be
The
just
real
this
London
one.
Bridge is in Lake Havasu.
This one, yes, it is. This one with him should be called "Oops, I tripped and fell." That's what it should be. Oops, I tripped and fell. Anyways,
Yeah, he, at the risk of being risque, he dicked himself.
yeah.
Oh.
Anyways, okay, guys, we are out of time. I've got to hit this button so we can end on time. I get yelled at.
I love you all.
Love you
I
all.
love you all too. Thank you, everybody, for coming. And everybody, please,
love.
please be kind to one another.
Please.
And we will see you.
Not easy to do sometimes, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, I know, we try. Stick around, Elizabeth. All right,
All right.
everybody. Good night. We will see you next weekend. Thanks for coming.
Mwah.
Goodbye for now from Beyond the Box. Inside, outside, upside, downside, beyond the box. Please join us again for Beyond the Box, Friday and Saturday evenings from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. to midnight Eastern. Join us for more intel bombs with our extraordinary guests.
Break it down.
inside, upside, downside, beyond the box.
Break it down.
Good night, Putin. Good night, Tucker Carlson.